About a year ago, I announced that I was going to do a podcast called Microsoft, a Materialist Approach. And the idea for this podcast was that I would take a look at Microsoft specifically and the tech industry generally from a materialist perspective. And by materialist, I mean grounded in political economy. So what is political economy? You can look it up, but I'll give you a definition, which actually, because it's quite simple and complex at the same time, as many things in life are. Political economy really refers to the web of interactions between all those things that comprise the activities, the actions of a society, having to do with economic and industrial and other activities. The reproduction of life, family life is included in that. Energy, military activities, farming, mining, and so on. And the technology industry has a unique role within political economy because it serves as the command and control element of capitalist activity. And by command and control element, I mean it is the digital technology provides capitalist enterprises with the way or the means through which it can coordinate and control their actions, track their actions, do assessments and analyses of their actions and outcomes, and to some extent also do projections and predictions. So anyway, looking at Microsoft from a materialist approach means to me, and hopefully it will come to mean to you, looking at the activities of this particular corporation, but also its peers, from the perspective of the impact that they have on the society as a whole, not simply what we usually get from, say, tech press, which is, oh, here's a product. Product's awesome. You're going to love this product. It's going to change the world. What a fantastic product, yada, yada. And then, nothing happens, or things happen that people predicted. Terrible things happen, but, the tech press doesn't really want to deal with that. So materialism, grounded analysis of the impact of a technology industry or the technology industry's actions generally. But because I have decades of experience with Microsoft as both or from both the perspective of technology and from observing and dealing with its actions as a capitalist entity, well, I think I have a good handle on what they do, when they do it, why they do it. I mean, profit, of course, is always the driving motivation for capitalist enterprises. And we all know this, but we don't think about the implications of this. If Exxon, for example, is focused more on profit than anything else, what does that mean? Well, it means that all of our, I should say, entreaties to do something about climate change go nowhere because it has an impact upon profit. And the same thing applies to the tech industry. People talk about things like AI safety and so forth, but these things are meaningless when weighed against, from the perspective of the organization, their goals for profit. So anyway, the reason why I'm making this video to kind of get this thing started is because in recent weeks, Microsoft has announced, and it really kind of got a lot of attention this week, Microsoft announced a product called Copilot plus PC. And the idea behind this product, as it was announced at the Microsoft Build Conference, the idea behind this product is that, hey, we're going to bring all of the magic of large language models and the ChatGPT large language model implementation, particularly version 4 of ChatGPT. We're going to bring all that into a laptop. And so right on the machine, you'll be able to experience the wonder, the mystery, and the awe of so-called AI. And I say so-called because, it's stat analysis, essentially. And the product Copilot and the naming convention Copilot goes across the Microsoft ecosystem. There's GitHub Copilot, and there's Copilot in Azure, and there's Copilot for the Microsoft 365 SaaS, that is software as a service platform. Excuse me. And so Copilot is something that Microsoft has embedded into its product line in an effort to make profit from its investment in OpenAI, which is in the many, many billions of US dollars, and to my knowledge, without any return on investment thus far. Copilot plus PC gives them the ability to kind of force this Copilot thing down our throats, because corporations need to refresh their PCs. Maybe you want to buy a PC. If you're like most people, and let's be honest, you probably have a Windows PC. You may not want one if you're like a geek who loves Linux. Listen, I love Linux. Or if you're a person who loves Mac, but most people are going to get a Windows PC, and those Windows PCs will need refreshing. And Microsoft is going to create a revenue stream. This is my projection, and I don't think you have to take my word for it. Just look at the business press. A revenue stream based on this projected purchases of new PCs, new laptops in particular. The product, or rather the portion of the product, the Copilot plus PC, that has attracted a lot of attention, at least among security, people who are concerned with security, people who are concerned about how technology is used to surveil us, and what I would call a counterinsurgency tool is an aspect of the product line of the Copilot plus PC product suite that's called Recall. And what Recall does, according to Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and Carolina Hernandez, who is the principal product manager for Windows, who's part of a presentation at the Microsoft conference that just recently occurred. What it does is, Recall, is it records snapshots of everything you do, images, text. In fact, during Hernandez's presentation at the Microsoft conference, she gave us the example of she needed a dress for her mom for a wedding. And you'll note that in these tech presentations, there's always, this personal angle, like, oh, my kids had to go to a soccer match, and I didn't. How do I find a soccer ball? Oh, AI can help. That kind of thing. Anyway, Hernandez said that she was looking for a dress for her mother, or perhaps it was her grandmother. I don't recall, but an elder relative, and that it was a blue dress that she had identified. But because she's so very busy, she's a busy executive, she is a mother, she has hobbies and so forth, and she emphasized this. She just couldn't remember what the website was that she found the blue dress that she really loved. And this, of course, is an actual scenario. We do searches, and we forget things. And so Recall to the rescue, because Recall had recorded all of the activity on her computer. And so she was able to do a text prompt such as, find blue dress, and Recall was able to help her, and voila, here's the blue dress. And so, of course, we're encouraged to think that this is an awesome thing because, at last, I don't have to remember anything. But there's always a price to pay, and there's also always a question to ask. And the price to pay, of course, is privacy. People have said that we don't have any privacy anymore. The people who say this to you are people who want to steal your data. So you can safely ignore that and resist that. But there's also an angle to this, which is that the product itself is ripe for exploitation. And what we would call illegitimate exploitation. Well, let's just say black hat exploitation. That is to say hackers, attacking your system, your Windows system, and getting all your data. But also individuals or organizations, rather, governments and corporations that love to have this kind of data. Or we all should know that our companies love to spy on us, our governments love to spy on us. What better way to do this than by pushing a laptop on you that records everything you do, records it in a database, and then makes that data accessible. Now, the Microsoft says that all the data stays on the computer, but this, of course, is absurd because Windows is a networked operating system, and aspects of that operating system are available via network connections. In fact, there was someone on Twitter, and I'll do a link in the notes to this, who pointed out the fact that the data is stored on board the laptop in a SQLite database, which, for those who don't know, is just kind of like a baby version of the larger databases that are used by corporations. And it is indeed accessible outside of the machine. So I want you to just picture this for a moment. You're working on your shiny new Copilot enhanced Windows laptop, and it's recording everything you do. And let's just assume that you're not doing anything that you don't want anybody to know about. It doesn't really matter. But let's just assume that. And all these snapshots are taken as they call them, snapshots of this, where you browse what you did on Discord, maybe what you did on other chat applications, everything that you did on your PC. And then it's stored in this little database. And then someone, maybe your employer, perhaps your government, perhaps a hacker, someone who wants to blackmail you, has access to your data. Others have pointed out that this is tailor-made for abusers because, of course, someone who wants to control your behavior in an abusive relationship now has the ability to actually get access. What if you are searching for data for shelters or other resources that you might need to get away from your abuser? Voila, there it all is. The computer is helping the abuser, right? Anyway, this is just kind of an intro video to what I hope will be, over time, a more formal treatment of this topic. The technology industry should be assessed from the position of what it actually does, not what it promises, not what we would prefer that it do, but what it actually does. I think that it was on Twitter that I quoted the cyberneticist Stafford Beer, who said that the purpose of a system is what it does. And when we see the results of the technology industry, the surveillance, the manipulation, and so forth, well, we should assume, being realistic, being materialists, right, being grounded, that that is the actual purpose of the technology industry. Yasha Levine put out a book several years ago called Surveillance Valley that I'll also do a link in the show notes to, that talks about the origins of the technology industry and its wedding from the very beginning, its mating from the very beginning with the intelligence services and military activities. So everything that we're seeing now is has always been. It's just that some of us now are paying more attention. And Copilot plus PC recall is such an obvious example of this that it's astounding to me that anyone is going, no, it's quite safe. Don't worry about it. It's all good. It's recording everything, but you can trust us. Fam, never trust them. Never, ever trust them. Anyway, this has been a start to this. Other videos are coming and they will probably be a bit more formal. You may not see my face. It doesn't really matter. I hope that you make use of the resources that I gave you and then I spark some thoughts, and I will see you in the next one.